Hey everyone, this is Jake at Whatever, where we literally talk about whatever on this channel. If you haven't done so, go check out my first video. It's probably going to be a far cry from this one, but I'm trying to improve as I go along, and please let me know how I'm doing and any other improvements that I can make to help make our experience, as I said, our experience a lot better. Now for this video, I'm going to be talking about my time as a crew chief in the Air Force. Now this was a random suggestion from a friend on Facebook. She asked me to talk about it, and that's the one I decided to pull right out of the hat. I'm very passionate about what I do and what I did as an F-16 mechanic, and I hope that this is something that you could be interested in as well. So without further ado, let's send it. Hey everyone, this is Jake, and the second video is about my time as a crew chief and some little interesting stories, but also how great it was for me and what it did for me as far as for my career and projecting me to new heights. And as I said before, this was a random subject that was picked by one of my friends on Facebook, and so let's get into it. Now you're probably wondering, hey Jake, what the heck is a crew chief, and why do I even need to know about this? Well, you're watching this video, so I assume that you're interested in it. A crew chief is basically a grunt. I guess they're the grunt of the Air Force, if I'm going to be blunt. We're the knuckle draggers, we're the guys that are getting dirty all the time as far as we're getting underneath the aircraft, we're changing out landing gear, we're messing with hydraulic oil, we're getting down and dirty. Now, when we used to go out, my friends and I that I had made in the Air Force, like my friend Derek Reddick, and my buddy Marcus Deschner and all these guys and Matt Andrade, we'd go out and we'd do what military guys do. We'd go out and drink and have fun. And so people would ask us, hey guys, what do y'all do? And we'd tell them, hey, we work on aircraft. Oh, you fly the aircraft. And we'd say, no, we fix them. We fix them. We get the flyboys up in the jets and allow them to do all the cool stuff that they do up in those F-16s, and they sit there and they looked at us a little weird, like that doesn't sound as fun, but I gotta tell you right now, it was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my entire life. Now you may want to know some more specifics, especially day-to-day activities, and those were more so, I guess you would say, common stuff, like you would change the oil in your car, but not really. We're not really changing the oil in the jets, but we are doing inspections that are 2.5 to 3 hours long for the most part, or we're changing the tires, or maybe something breaks and we have to fix it. There wasn't usually anything big that was breaking, but we did have teams for that were a little more knowledgeable, and those would be our staff sergeants. Myself and some of my buddies, when we first came in, we were Airman First Class, which is if you're looking at the uniform, an Air Force uniform, it's the two bars that go up. So that was our rank, and the staff sergeants especially had four of those bars, and so they would be what we call 7 level. We were 3 level at the time, but we were still learning, and we would take instruction from them, which was outstanding because the only way you're going to learn how to do this job is by learning from somebody that has been doing it for their entire careers. So the big jobs would be like changing the engine. As you can see, the F-16's only got one engine on it, and it's freaking huge. I mean, this thing is pretty much the entire aircraft is this engine. But you see those really cool pictures of the afterburner, which is that huge flame, especially at night, right? When you see them take off. But that really propels the jets up, and that was actually probably my favorite job, was actually changing out the engine. Doing an engine change or changing a certain component on the engine. I'm not going to get too specific because you're not going to know what the heck I'm even talking about. But in layman's terms, the engine was pretty fun. The landing gear was a little fun also, and as well as the flight controls. But what we didn't mess with as a crew chief, we had specialists that work on electronics, and we have avionics that work on the avionics packages, and there were different levels of clearance that you needed at each of these jobs. So I think the teamwork that went into it was really, really great. And when I say teamwork, I mean that we all worked in tandem, but we didn't know every single specific of the jet itself. So general maintenance, mechanics, we knew a lot of general maintenance. We knew a whole lot about the engine, and we knew about the landing gear and stuff like that, like I've already talked about. But the electricians, they worked specifically with the electronics on the jet. And then we also had an engines shop that they worked specifically on engines. So we knew some general stuff, but they knew the more intermediate stuff. And as far as the avionics, they worked with the avionics, the radar, the HUD system, and everything like that. And now you're thinking, hey Jake, so when do you get to the fun part of this? Well, the really fun part for me, and probably some of the guys that I know and that I might have on at a later time to talk to you, they're still in the Air Force, and they're a great bunch of guys. But I think some of the best things that we had done is deploy and temporary duty assignments. Those have got to be some of the greatest things, because that allowed us to see the world and see other cultures and experience other things. So that way we had that kind of like that experience that people don't really normally get in America unless they go outside of the country. And now I know not everybody can afford to do that, but the Air Force had afforded us to be able to do that. And I'm really grateful for that, because that's something that I'm passionate about now, and I've been to around 30 plus countries, and I got to tell you, it was a blast. Now, we didn't go to all 30 or I didn't go to all 30 countries while I was in the Air Force. Some of them were afterwards, but the majority were while I was in the Air Force. And I guess some of the ones that stuck with me have got to be Korea, which is South Korea, not North Korea. South Korea, which is an outstanding country. The culture is great, the food's amazing, and the people there can drink. That's not all they do, but they can drink. And they drink soju, and soju is the best. But it's also very dangerous, because you don't even know that you're getting drunk until it's already too late. The other one was Italy, and Italy was beautiful, it was gorgeous. And it was around the time when Gaddafi, the whole Gaddafi thing was going down. We were there for about 2 months, and we were dropping bombs all the time. I know some people don't want to hear that, but it's the reality of it, and that's exactly what happened. But we were dropping bombs, but on the days that we had off, we were able to go do whatever we wanted to. So we would take the train down to Venice, we'd go to Piancavallo, a few of us went over to, I think, Rome. I didn't go personally, but I know a few guys that did go, and they said it was absolutely gorgeous. It was extremely crowded, but it was still very, very nice. And some of us, like myself, we really wanted to go to the Amalfi Coast. So the Air Force really afforded for us to be able to go and enjoy these things that some other people normally wouldn't be able to enjoy. So I'm extremely grateful for that, for sure. And I don't mean to really skip around, but another huge turning point for me in my life was just enlisting at all. You know, I was in college, and I really didn't want to be there, and I'm in no way saying that you shouldn't go to college or discouraging anybody from going to college. But if you were like me and you weren't extremely excited about being there, then you didn't really know what to do with your life. So the military really, especially the Air Force, obviously, really gave me a path to go on. And one of the starting points was basic training. You know, I thought it was going to be this horrible thing and everything else, but then I got there. And I don't know if it was my childhood or my upbringing, I'm not exactly positive, but it was a breeze for me. I understood it. I think it was because it's structured. Your days are set. You don't get a whole lot of sleep because you're waking up at the crack of dawn, you're working out every single morning, and they're just really grilling you while you go through we call it chow hall, which is where you eat. But it really kind of they break you down to build you back up. That's what they do. And that was exciting for me at a certain point. Like, I enjoyed doing it. I really think that propelled me in my career in the Air Force, was doing that and experiencing that and basic training. Now, I did mention the other part was our deployments, and Iraq was a big one. It really brought us together. Aside from basic training brought us together, but the friends that I made while I was there, the brothers that I made while I was there, because it doesn't matter where you're from. you have to trust the guy that's right next to you. And that was also part of what that was all about. I mean, your prejudices or whatever you had didn't really matter. You needed to be able to trust the guy next to you. So you built that bond, and that really helped with your experience with people from different backgrounds and different circumstances. So I think that is outstanding. And so as far as deployments go, you're already in that mentality. So then you go to your deployment, and it's just a different environment as far as the outside. Well, we were in Iraq at Joint Base Balad, and we saw a whole new group of people, and it was a little bit stressful because we were working 12 to 14 hour days, sometimes even longer, maybe around 16 hours. And we were going to the gym, and there was RPG fire and AK-47 bullets were coming down, but it wasn't as frequent as around the beginning of the war or thereabouts. So I'd have to say by the time that we got there, it was the chaos was already minimalized. And I believe that we were one of the first units to go there for a stint of around 6 months, 6 months at a time. I think they were trying to ramp that up to give each unit time to be able to recover until their next deployment or however that was going to go. I wouldn't have been able to experience much of that if I had been in finance or if I had been in the medical field or any of that stuff. So being a crew chief really afforded me that experience. And not to say that necessarily just because I am a crew chief, that's exactly what was going to happen, because there are guys that hang around at training bases their entire careers. And I'm not narking them for that, but those of us that were active and that were in forward deploying bases, we were the ones that were going to see the most action, and we're going to travel the most because, well, we're willing to do that. And also the bases that we were stationed at would allow us to do that. So I thought that was just, I think that is exactly what we needed to be able to experience that kind of stuff. So that's another perk to me personally, as far as being a crew chief and serving in the military and the Air Force. So I guess the long and short of it is that being a crew chief really expanded my horizons. It really gave me a purpose, because before I joined the military, I really didn't have a purpose. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it allowed me to figure that out. I mean, those planes were our babies. We had our names all up on the side of it. We had to take care of it every day. We knew that jet inside and out. We had to make it airworthy for those pilots. I mean, we had somebody's life in our hands. And to see them go and come back in one piece, I think that really, in and of itself, is a monumental task. And anybody else that is a crew chief would more than likely agree with that. That's the long and short of it. I hope you have a little bit of a better understanding of what a crew chief does and my own personal experience in the Air Force, which, like I said before, was outstanding. I didn't want to make this video too long, and so if you did like the content for today, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you think a good subject would be to talk about. Like I said before, this is an open forum, and I'm open to any sort of discourse or any subject matter that you would want me to talk about. I'm really looking forward to what y'all can come up with for me in the near future. Now for the next few videos, as far as next week's video, I'm going to be talking about a few cost-effective places to visit when you go on a vacation. Now, they may be places that you know about, they may not be places you know about, but I think these are some of the best ones that I've been to that give you the most bang for your buck. The following video is going to be a vintage booster pack opening of some Pokemon cards, as well as some mystery boxes. And I am extremely excited about that. If you can't tell from my face, I have been waiting for that one for a very long time. So if this is something that you think that you would like to see, then stick around with us and just send it.